Recording in progress. Wonderful. Well, welcome everybody. It's good to see new faces this month for our special monthly training, this time focused on online payments. So thrilled that Donna is here, and we're hoping our treasurer Jerry can join us momentarily because they're the experts on this. This month I get to sit back and learn myself, which is fantastic. Um, I'll say it now and I'll say it again at the end. Next month in June, the training is going to be focused on nominating committees. Some of you may have already done that work in your congregations. I understand several of our congregations nominate and elect new officers around this time of year, but still, good information. Pass it along to your sessions. That will be June 16th at 5 p.m. Again, it will be recorded and posted, all that good stuff. So June, we're going to look at what the Book of Orders says about nominating committees. So please join me in prayer. Gracious and loving God, thank you for the ways that you connect us, connecting us with your spirit, connecting us through the ether, through technology, connecting us when we are with one another. And thank you for the ways we can use technology as your body to connect with mission and ministry. We're grateful that these opportunities are open to us as your body. So be with us today as we learn about a new opportunity, as we explore a different way to connect around per capita and mission giving. And in all things, help us be faithful. Help us be people who shine your light and share your love wherever we go. Help us be people who don't just offer prayers, but stand to offer care and support. Help us be people who are working for change, for your change in this world that is so terribly broken and battered. May we be your hands and feet, knitting together all that is torn. We ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
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 So Donna, I will turn it over to you.
Wonderful. Thank you all for participating this evening, as I indicated. The documentation that I sent out this morning did in fact have a reiteration of the per capita note, which Cindy had prepared previously and that we do have available and have circulated. It simply was a paraphrase. What we're finding is that there are a number of elders who are new that are coming on to sessions. There are a number of new treasurers that are in fact being added to our churches. So we do periodically, after a couple of years or so, find that it's really beneficial to share information about per capita, to discuss the items that are included in that. I guess what I wanted to ask, is there anyone that has any specific questions relating to that document? And if it's helpful to share it, I can do that on the screen if that's helpful. But does anyone have any questions about per capita and how that is calculated? Yes, Deb. Let's.
I see you're unmuted, but I couldn't hear you.
Yes.
No, it's like your microphone's not connected.
There.
Oh, good.
Posted
Wonderful.
to the screen. I don't seem to have gotten that.
Okay, that's fine. I will send that to everyone. Actually, it is also available on the training webpage.
Okay.
Okay.
Secretary website. So up in the right-hand corner in the tabs, just hit training and go all the way down. I'll make one comment when I say all the way down. That I purposefully am doing and placing those meetings in that order so that you have to kind of go through them and see what it is that we've done already.
Okay,
That's
Those
good.
current at the top, I feel like y'all might miss something that we've done before, and maybe that's a better chance that you won't miss it.
okay, great.
So it is there on the website as well. One thing that I did want to share is that just a reiteration that it feels as though per capita is 2 years in arrears. So the 22 per capita is based on the 2020 statistical inputted information. It really isn't 2 years in arrears because you're not inputting that information until February of 2021. However, date-wise, it is 2020 for 2022. So if you remember it that way, it's a little more helpful. That also makes me want to remind you to remind your clerks to be sure to fill out your statistical information every year, because it does make a big impact if you are thinking that you are paying per capita based on a more current membership number. I'm going to ask Jerry. I want to introduce Jerry Hunter for those of you who have not met Jerry. Jerry is our NCP treasurer and accounting administrator, so he handles all of the billing information for the presbytery. He inputs your payments and handles distributions as far as payments and receivables are concerned. Jerry, did you want to talk to, just very quickly, since we're talking about per capita, any comments that you may have with regard to payment of per capita? Some churches do send it in all at one time. Some may choose to do it monthly or quarterly or what have you. And did you talk to that for a minute?
Yeah, I mean, we're actually billed, the presbytery is actually billed for the per capita in January. So we actually effectively pay that invoice in January. The bills that go out for per capita to the churches actually go out in January as well, and they have immediate due. But we also know that, you know, the churches don't have the necessary cash flow to handle all that at once, and some of those payments are monthly, quarterly, and if you look over time, those payments come in similar, and we don't want to change that. We want to marry up with what your cash flow looks like. So even though we say it's due, you know, you guys can basically do what you've done historically, which is either monthly, quarterly, and in some cases, when the cash flow actually available, make that payment. So we're not trying to force fit it. We're just trying to make sure that you're aware. And some of you might have gotten, we use QuickBooks Online here, and I've tried to set up like many reminders around payments due.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, in my first go at that is it said, you know, anybody that wasn't fully paid got an invoice that showed that, you know, there's still a total balance due. And I'm trying to work with that again before the next notice goes out, that take into consideration any payments so that the net balance is what is reflected as a reminder, just as confirmation, where you can look at the total pledge amount less what's been paid based on our records, compare that to your records. I'm trying to get that up and running as well. So I appreciate it. You know, we really haven't changed anything other than just, you know, maybe trying to get, you know, with new people in place. I've got new emails and people are changing all that. So it's just trying to get that information out and reminders as people may come and go as it relates to some of the functions that are performed at the church.
Did anyone have any questions about per capita or the comments that Jerry and I have made to this point? Okay, hearing none. I'm going to proceed to I'm now sharing my screen. You should be, let's see here. you should be seeing the per capita remittance form. I just wanted to share that and indicate that this particular form is in fact available on our website as well. This form was updated in 2018 when a change came into place before Jerry was here, wherein we are no longer receiving specific mission payments at the presbytery office. So you'll see here at the top just your basic information. We do accept, obviously, you can put your per capita in here, the mission payments that are specific to presbytery, GA, and synod, undesignated and designated. The other missions, which you may have sent previously to the presbytery office, which are inclusive of mission coworker payments, special offerings, medical benevolence, theological education. They are sent directly. And what we have found is that rather than delay the payments coming through the presbytery office, it's a much more effective and efficient way of processing those particular items. It also enables you that if you're paying per capita and you're also paying mission that is undesignated or designated as indicated on this form to the presbytery, there's no need to send multiple checks for that purpose. You can send one consolidated check for and send it in with this form. Now, keep in mind that we're discussing the form at this particular point and sending a check in. We're going to transition into online payments in a few minutes, which is going to kind of change the premise behind all of this, and forms will not be necessary. The form, though, I do find helpful. I do circulate this form every October when the budgeting information to churches comes out, and it does enable you to notice where exactly it is that these payments are to go to. Bear in mind the special offerings, in particular, the Pentecost offering, which is occurring now, and the Peace and Global Witness offering, wherein not the total receivable is sent. The intention is for your congregation to retain a portion of that for the purpose as indicated in special offerings. If you could utilize that locally in a way that's identified by PCUSA, that is the intention. Did we have any comments or questions about the remittances and where funds are sent?
I have a question.
Sure.
Does PCUSA offer electronic payments?
They do.
Okay.
They do. PCUSA, and I will see if I can locate that link for you and put that in the chat. And what I will do, how about if we do this to make it easier? I am going to circulate an email probably tomorrow morning to avail you all of the recording that we're doing today and that I will be putting up on the webpage. So I'll just reconfirm that. And in that email, I will provide you with the PCUSA payment portal so that you can actually utilize that directly to PCUSA as well.
Okay.
Okay.
And I'd just like to say, I really love the consolidation. It's very clear because it used to be so choppy before.
Wonderful. Thank you very much for that comment.
Yeah, the item I'd like to see on here is, like, if 1 great hour of sharing is an electronic form that we can use on the web, that somehow it's marked as such, so that if there's 5 of these forms out of the dozen forms that are electronic, that they're marked such so that we can use them as electronic. And I think that would add a new level to this form.
Okay, I understand exactly what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. And I think when we get to the online portal, you'll see the difference and that there will not be a form involved because of the way the funds are designated. So we'll go over that in just a minute, Pat. But I do believe that on the form, it does indicate right here, if you can see my arrow, it does have that link to the PCUSA portal for electronic payments. And although I will reiterate it, it is on that form as well, Dave, the question that you had as well.
Right.
Yeah, but
I understand what you're saying too.
well, I don't think you understand, because I'm not specifically talking about forms. What I'm talking about is if 1 grade hour, for example, 1 grade hour of sharing, if instead of using a form, we can do it electronically, whether it's a form or not, then it should be marked as such so that we know, rather than filling out the paperwork, we can electronically submit it.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
I don't really care about a form. I care about electronic submission.
Okay.
And I'm
Okay.
putting that direct link in the chat. There's a direct link to the special offerings page, and you pick which offering you're donating to of the four
Yes.
special offerings. And so that's the link that can be indicated. And that takes you directly to the Presbyterian Mission Portal.
And I'm putting that up as a share right now. So Pat, the portal that that Cindy is talking about, and that link that's on the form takes you right here.
Absolutely, and I've been there many a time.
Right.
But yeah, and what I'm saying is, basically, whenever we have one of these special offerings, I have to go here, find out if the form is an electronic form. And if it's not, then I have to go back to the manual form, fill it out, and submit it. Because there's no easy way for me to know which ones are electronic and which ones are paper.
Okay. As far as the PCUSA, the PMA offerings are concerned, we don't have any control over that, obviously, for the special offerings. So I can put a comment into them to ask them to be a little more informative, but we don't have any control over that.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Very good. All right.
Donna,
Yes.
does the Newcastle Presbytery want to know how much we send various charitable organizations? Or are you just interested in the ones that ours is supporting?
Cindy, do you want to address that?
Yeah, so any mission giving you give to the denomination, we actually get a quarterly report of our churches and how they connect with the special offerings, any designated or undesignated offerings. And that's another reason for you to send those in directly, because if we send them in, we get credit. And so sometimes we'll hear from a church, no, we gave to all the special offerings. Why aren't we a 4-for-4 congregation? And usually in the past, it was because the donation went through the presbytery and didn't get itemized. So we do get a quarterly report.
Okay.
If you want to celebrate that, the ways that you are being generous and giving back out of the bounty God has first given, yeah, sure, let us know.
There is a sister church of ours in South Africa where we send cash. And there's no record of it going to any NCP or PCUSA. So it just happens. And quite frankly, I've been doing this job for 13 years, and I don't know how it gets reported to the Newcastle Presbytery.
And that sounds like it's your partnership. So you're not required to report that to us. Yeah.
I just think it
something
would
we
be nice to
celebrate,
see
but-
how much the Newcastle Presbytery as a whole gives to all the
Yeah.
various groups that, are in the world today. I think you'd be amazed how much money goes out.
Maybe that's something we can ask people to voluntarily, we can't require, but voluntarily submit the amount of mission giving at the end of the year, across the year. So annual mission giving for 2022, and we can celebrate that. Yeah.
I can tell you it's available in our church because it's included as part of our annual report
Thank
as
you.
to the total dollars and where they all went.
Thank you. That's
So.
fantastic.
Okay.
That's wonderful. That's really terrific. Jerry, did you have anything you wanted to add with regard to those givings at all?
No, I mean, we don't, from an accounting perspective, like Cindy said, we don't report it, through our books. And only if we receive the cash here is when it actually gets reported. And then obviously we send that to PCUSA. But, other than that, really, we're trying to get it to the straight and narrow where the credit belongs, as opposed to, where we are right today. So that's part of the meeting here. But I do like that idea because I do some work for Westminster Presbyterian Church. And like Dave said, I think it's probably a good idea because there are a lot of churches that do have funds like Davis Church that basically, if you pull that all together, I think he's right. We'd have a pretty decent number on what I'd call the global part of our presbytery and what really goes offshore as support.
Very good. Did anyone have any other questions with regard to remittances and payments that are done in paper format? Okay. What we'll do now is we will move on and we will discuss the new payment portal that the Presbytery has initiated, that Jerry and I have worked together on. We have at the Presbytery a fairly new database. We've been working with this for probably a little over a year or so at this particular point. And it does have a payment portal component. So we've been utilizing it, we've been playing with it and seeing its effectiveness, and it has streamlined our operations exponentially. We decided to begin requesting churches that have a comfort zone with starting this process to begin doing so if we can in June. We would like to make it mandatory by January of next year. But what I would like to do is just walk you through this a little bit and let you see what this is all about. You would log on to this link, to the Breeze Give online link that is here. There is a screen that comes up right away that that is this screen that I'm showing you. So the initial screen, you would simply input the amount of money that you're going to put in. This line here, the give to, that's language that we cannot change. Breeze is specific about the way that they set things up. So the payment portal can be used for donations. It can be made for payments or what have you. And I can designate which funds are donations so that there is a receipt for that purpose at the end of the year, or payments. It does not reflect it in the screen, but it is reflected on the back end of each fund that we have. So when you come to the first line that says, this here says give to per capita, but you can actually use the drop-down menu to select additional funds. I'm going to go through all of this page at this moment, and then I'm going to switch and I'm going to go live so that I can show you exactly what I mean about the drop downs. Okay. So you select the drop down to select the payment fund that you're going to pay to. There is a frequency line. You can give it one time. You can set it up for a frequency. So if you have a monthly payment, for instance, you've divided out your per capita into 12 months and you have the exact same amount is being paid every month for per capita, you can actually schedule this to come out every month on the given date that you have chosen, that you've gone in and done this. So that's a possibility as well. Under the give by, at this particular point, it says credit debit card. That is a set line. That is the primary line for this particular system. We want you, however, to select ACH bank transfer, because as you all know, there is a 2 to 3% difference in the fee that is paid on payments from an ACH bank transfer to a credit debit card transfer. Now, before I go any farther, I'm going to ask Jerry to talk to the fee situation and what, Jerry, we have decided as a presbytery that is going to occur with the fees.
Yeah, I think when we look at the fees that are due on ACH, when Donna gets to the actual screen, you'll see that there's a fee being charged based on the amount that gets entered. The presbytery will pick up that fee, whatever, typically it's about 1% transaction total. And the reason for that is a number of things. We will see significant efficiencies on our end because you'll see that there's Excel files that can be created on our end that can be automatically imported to our system that eliminates activity on our end. And Donna, from the standpoint of opening the mail and getting the checks, and then we have requirements with our bank because we have, if we receive a check, since we have deposit on site, we're required to keep those checks for a period of time for verification purposes. So we eliminate that process and requirement as part of direct deposit. One of the things that will be helpful is we're probably going to reduce the number of what I call direct deposit checks, actually decrease our bank fees as it relates to that activity as well. And finally, I think when we look at it and we're trying to free up Donna's time more and more to get into some of the other systems and venues we're working on to try and simplify and automate, it'll free up a fair amount of her time just from getting mail, open mail, direct deposit. And at the end of the day, I think overall, we think we'll see improved controls because when you look at the drop-down menus, all of those things that you will select, we won't have to guess if we don't understand. And basically, you're going to make that selection. And based on that selection, we'll get a report or an Excel file that will tell us what you want to do, how much you want to donate. And on our end, you'll actually see in the description, we built in our account code. So I think when we look at it, it provides a lot of benefit. We hope that you guys over time will see the benefit on your end as well. And one of the things I will tell you is that, any giving that you do, once we get you set up with a username and password, you'll be able to go to your own site and look at all your giving activity that went through Breeze and actually print that out. Like if you have an audit and somebody wants to see, what giving took place and where it went and all that, you can just go right to the site, print out a report, or give your auditors an Excel spreadsheet. So, and I don't know what systems y'all use, but at the same time, you get that thing hitting your bank account. If you're linked to your bank account and you can upload it, it just simplifies that transaction as well without dealing with a bunch of checks. So that's kind of my take on it. That's where I think we'd like to be as a presbytery. And at the end of the day, I think there's some automated benefits and certainly paper reductions that we all can benefit from, including what I believe ultimately will be increased controls, both on our end and hopefully on your end.
Perfect. Does anyone have any questions for Jerry at this particular moment? Okay. The sheet that you have as well will go down to the secondary payment information. We're not going to go to that at the moment. I'm going to stop sharing this particular screen. And I'm going to go to the live screen so that you can actually see how this is going to work. Let's do this.
And just so everybody knows, we do have a few churches using this already. And some of them are actually, I call them super users when it comes to ACH. And they've been on for a couple months now, and they seem pretty happy with it.
Thank you, Jerry. That's true. We have had a couple that we tested with, and it's become very efficient. And we even have one who has done a reoccurring charge. So they are making that reoccurring charge every month and not having to go in themselves and make that payment.
And the other thing with slow mail we're noticing is in some cases that slow mail check gets here, and in some cases it doesn't. And we've had a number of those the last 2 or 3 months where, for whatever reason, the check was written on the church's end and it just never arrived here at the presbytery.
Mhm.
And that just becomes a whole different set of problems, as we all know.
Right. So when you log in to our payment portal, you'll see that the information is just as it was on the instruction sheet, but at the bottom here, it does say sign in. So at the bottom of our instruction sheets, it indicates that you are willing to go ahead and participate with us at this particular point. You can go in and do this right away. You can do this right away. And we have an account set up for each of our churches. So with regard to the sign in, it's going to be one sign in for the church. So we're going to need to know which email is going to be your preference for the sign in for the church. To be able to make these payments. When you put an amount in here, so we're going to go with $10 for this, for example purposes. And I come down to the first line. If I hit the drop down menu, you'll see there are a number of funds that are already set up. We have a campus ministry, as many of you are aware. We have tenants over there that pay rent, they pay security deposits. We've had some churches who have asked to make a donation to campus ministry. We have these funds that are available for you to do so. The number system that you see associated with many of these is an internal system for us, so that when each of you uses this system and we're able to download the Excel spreadsheet for Jerry to be able to then move those funds in, all of those numbers are already in the transaction log and the Excel spreadsheet. And that makes an ease of reference as well for us. So we do have, an inquirer's fund. We have the notes, the GA undesignated. We have all of these funds that are available. Here's your per capita line. Mm-hmm. So everything that you generally send to us, there is what they call in this system, a fund for it. When you go down to the one-time payment, you can give one time, weekly, every 2, monthly, and yearly. Yes.
I didn't see the death and disability on there. Is that going to be something different, or did I miss it?
Death and disability.
That will be Board of Pensions, which
right.
is outside of our
Wouldn't be
system.
Yeah, I thought we paid 0.5% to the presbytery.
Oh, you're speaking of the MedRap dues?
Yeah, there you go. I'm sorry.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Dave.
Yeah, we'll have to add that. I don't see it.
Add the MedRap dues fund onto this system. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we'll have to add that, Dave. That's a good catch.
Yes.
Yeah, we have to add that.
You'd think I know the name of it by now.
Yeah, we'll
Very
add
good.
that. Thank you. That was a good catch.
That
Okay.
was, thank you. We will definitely add that. So then again, there's your frequency of your payment that you can designate. And you can also, this is where you're going to want to change this to the each bank transfer. And we will continue. When we get here, the personal information goes in for where the payment is coming from, the ACH with your banking information. And you'll see right here for $10 for an ACH bank transfer, it's 35 cents. Mm-hmm. So that is the fee that Presbytery is going to pay. So you're not going to check that checkbox because we're going to pay them.
Unless you want to, that's less than a stamp.
Well, that's true.
Right, that's what I was just
say
thinking.
no if you check the box.
Sure, exactly.
But the Presbytery is willing to cover that process.
Yes, yes.
That is correct. That is correct.
Donna,
Yes.
Do you have a miscellaneous account? Like, I think our pastor's gone to some conventions and things like that that NCP has put on, where we were charged, or he was charged $25, $35, $45, whatever it is, to attend these things.
Right.
Were you going to have a miscellaneous that we use, or how is that going to work?
That's a little different, Dave, in that if we have an event that is occurring, that event is going to be very specific. And in most cases, there are additional variables to that event.
Okay.
So in that particular case, there is a separate form that comes through this system. It's not on this particular section of the database of the portal.
Okay.
So the form comes out, you fill the form out, and it actually gets paid through this exact same system, but it gives the opportunity to make selections for participation levels. And then you pay, and in that particular case, that is all, unfortunately, paid by credit card. So we pay a higher fee for those things because the
Right.
particular payment process not yet incorporated an ACH feature on that type of event kind of form. So we tried to do this. We were going to do this so that we could do the ACH for the last retreat as an example. But what we found is that having to add each of those additional funds for additional options for the event was just too cumbersome to try to do that through this particular web-based giving section is what they call this.
Okay.
Okay. So as we continue on this, that's it as far as this particular web-based giving, online giving is concerned and payment section is concerned. There's a comment section. So if you feel more comfortable putting a comment about say, for instance, let me go back. This comment section is extremely helpful in scenarios where you may be giving, you may be splitting that giving amount and the fund doesn't designate that appropriately for the amount that you're giving. Jerry, we've got a couple cases like that where we get a couple of different items in. I think it's pretty much covered in the funds, but if for some reason you find that you're not seeing a fund that you want to give to, you can use the comment section for that purpose.
Donna, this is Bob Schofield. Quick question.
Yes,
The
Bob.
payment information, your name, that's the name of the church?
Correct.
Okay.
Whatever's Bob, whatever's on the check, whatever is on the church checking account is what you'd fill in there.
Okay.
That is correct. That's correct.
And again, you know, as you guys become active users, this is our first take at you know, what comes through our system, and basically we record as checks from the church. But as you guys get to use the system and you get more knowledge of it, if you guys come up with ideas that say, well, why can't we do this, or why can't we do that, then surely let us know and let's have a conversation. And if we can even add more to it and simplify it further, hey, you know, the more minds, the better as far as I'm concerned. It's not embedded here, so whatever you guys can figure out and help with, more than happy to listen as we move forward.
Thank you. Question on this page, Donna.
Yes.
Payment information.
Yes.
Does that have to be populated every time we do it, or does it come up the same thing so you don't have to put this, you know, all the information in every time?
Unfortunately, we do have to put it in every time.
Okay, that's what we thought. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. And that is, it is a security feature so that it is not being retained. It is going into the payment processor portal. And they are not retaining that. It's going out to the banking institution. There's a couple of last digits that are maintained in the system for security reasons.
Sure.
Put it in for security purposes.
Yeah,
So when you submit your money in, do you get a receipt immediately?
You do get a receipt immediately. The email that you populate or that you enter into this payment information, you will get a receipt back for that purpose.
Mhm.
That is correct. And then you just hit the give button and
Don't worry about it.
it'll automatically be done, and then you'll receive your receipt.
Okay, thank you.
Right. You are welcome. Okay, I'm going to stop
And
sharing
again,
this.
once we get everybody their username and passwords, any giving that you've provided will be on your giving site, and you'll be able to, like I said previously, print a report or, dump it into Excel and take a look at it, sort it, do fines, whatever you need to do. And I think, what is it, 3 years? I think it's 3 years that gets saved on
I
this.
believe, correct. That is correct.
So you'll have 3 years of history in case you have to look something up.
Are there any questions about this payment information? Okay, I'm going to stop sharing that particular document at this point, and I'm going to go back to our instruction sheet. We've gone through the payment section or through the entry section. We've also gone through the secondary payment screen. And now we're going to go to the management portion. And I did use Georgetown as an example because they have been providing a few payments to us. So when I send out this email, you will have my email again so that you will see that the recording is available. You will have additional information that was requested from our discussion this evening. But I will ask you to send me a return email if you're interested in receiving a secure login with a passcode. Like I say, it needs to be a specific email address for your church because that will be populated into the church's record. So the database, as you can see here under this example, our database.
Donna,
Yes.
on that screen, the font it's so small. Can you enlarge it by going up to the right and there you go. Perfect.
Okay, is that better? There we go.
Keep going.
One more. Okay, there we go.
going.
There we
Keep
go.
going.
We all have glasses for a reason.
That's even better.
Thank
So
you, Donna.
let me just center this a little bit. There we go. All right. All of the screens on our database as we move through a given record will maintain this information at the top for whichever church we're looking at. So you going in with your email, you'll be able to go directly into your contributions. And this is exactly what it looks like. You'll see that in this particular case on April the 6th, Georgetown went through and paid their per capita. They paid a particular amount and they happened to pay for the 2 months so that they were ahead of time. This will continue to populate as you make your payments. You can go through and you can define the start date and the end date for whatever the range is that you want to look at. If you want to do something for the entire year, you can designate that. So say it's a year end and you're ready to reconcile your accounts and your records at the church. You can put those dates in, and then you can go right here. You can do the download to the button to be able to download an Excel spreadsheet, and then you can incorporate that into your records and print that for your records. So you'll be able to see exactly, and even down here as I go down to this funds overview, if you have gone through and you've made multiple payments online to various funds, so maybe you've done per capita, maybe you've gone through and you've done some undesignated mission giving to the presbytery or to the synod or to PCUSA, because they are the funds that we're going to receive here. It will populate and you'll have all of that as a bird's eye view when you go through and you actually look at your record here online. Are there any questions about the record in and of itself? Or any other questions that you may have?
The account email that you looking for, we've made it a habit to always use the church email.
Okay.
Only because treasurers come and go. Our church hopefully stays for a long time.
I
And we're
agree.
not changing the email unless we absolutely have to.
Mhm.
And for follow-up purposes, if I leave the church, they don't know what I'm getting. So we've
True.
kind of dictated that everything goes to the church. When I log on, I just need the email address. I don't have to have an email account. It just has to be their address. Is that correct?
Correct. That is correct.
That's what I thought.
Because you will have, and your comment is well noted, Dave, because as you'll see, this database is used for the population of a directory as well. So
Okay.
obviously, when I'm populating the congregational portion of the directory, I want the main email address for the church to be indicated in the directory. So you can see it's right here at the top with the phone number and their address. So the account for the church really is going to be maintained by the main email address.
Okay.
So you may need to talk to your office about that so that everyone is aware doing this, but you're not, the only thing that's going to happen that would go back to that email is your receipt. So if that is your email, your receipt is going to go to that email. So it's just a matter of communication with your office for that purpose. But the passcode, the church is not going to be able to go in and this particular account if you desire that you have control and maintenance over this particular account for the payment portal, because we're going to be sending that information. We can send information to you at a different email address, but maintaining that church email address as the place where all of this is going to be populated. Does that clear? Is that understood what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
I don't know if I'm clear about that.
No, I have no problems with that.
Okay. Jerry, did you have any comments on that since we've been working on this together?
No, I think you're right. I mean, I think, are we going to show the live version of this, Donna?
Yes.
Okay, so I think once they see the live version, I think it'll actually make it even better than where we are right here.
Okay.
Snapshot.
Okay, that's fine. So let's come, I'm going to come off of this share at this particular moment, and I'm going to go into the actual live screen.
Donna, while you're doing this is Bob Schofield again. Quick question.
Yes,
This
Bob.
is solely for payments from our church to Newcastle Presbytery. Any
Correct.
payments from the presbytery to our church will be handled how? Still through checks?
Well, we can, Bob, I'll answer that while Don is bringing the system up. We use a system called build.com. If in fact the church isn't set up in what we call ePay, you will get a check. If you want to be set up where when we pay you, you want an ePay transaction, which is an ACH, simple way to say ACH payment, more than happy to do that. So just send me an email. I can go into our payable system, which is build.com, send you an invitation, and you'll have to complete the invitation with your banking information because we can't see it for obvious reasons. And then once you fill that out, I get an email back identifying that that's been done. And then going forward, any payments after that's done will go to that bank account, et cetera, that you set up in the system. And then
I think, I don't make the payments that our church administrator makes and does all this. I think we're already set up at Presbyterian Church of Chestertown, but I will verify with her.
Okay.
And if we're not, we will set up. And then we get some kind of an email or something that says you've sent us $300, whatever it is.
You won't get an email. You'll get the actual ACH payment. It's that quick.
How do we know what it's for?
But you do get an
It'll
email
say.
as well.
Yeah, it'll say.
Yeah,
Okay.
the recipient gets an email in advance.
Right.
You've got a payment that's processing. At least that's what I get.
Yeah.
And the reason I
Everybody
asked
gets,
is,
everybody gets the same email that's coming.
all right, and the reason I asked
Really,
is,
it's like any other ACH payment, Bob.
Mhm.
Normally when, we'll put it in and within 48 hours, it'll be in your bank account. The
okay,
only time that would change is, they'd have to do what I call bank verification, just to make sure, like, they call it a debit transaction, to verify that it's an accurate account.
Mhm.
Once it's set up and it's accurate, it's 48 hours for payment.
good, thank you.
Perfect. Thank you.
And we'd be happy if you all did it that way, believe me.
Mhm.
And Donna and Jerry, I just had a question about the partnerships. I know, and we can take this offline too, but were you planning, I know Donna was maybe planning on having a line in one of the drop down options for Guatemala partnership and Congo partnership. And they're kind of, but I see now the benefit for the churches because they'll have all of their giving in one place. So that's good. The drawbacks are if they give through our automatic online system for the Guatemala partnership in particular, they will get a specific tax letter that says exactly what it's for. Plus they're kind of in our database of donors, so we can, and we see it right away. I mean, I guess we could even have it in both places. So we could just offer it in, I mean, they can, right now they can always give via our website.
Right.
I don't know if it would do any harm to put it on this if the church prefers to give this way. I guess that's up to you. And I would think we don't need one for every project, Donna. I would say just Guatemala partnership because we usually know what it's for and I can always reach out to the church. We know it's coming typically.
Well, I think too, Carrie, if you go back to the process of the original screen, the very first screen, where you actually use the drop down, and then there is I'm trying to remember here, it might be the second screen. There's a comment section. So
Perfect.
comment section, they could indicate that it's for the cattle project or that it's for the sewing project or whatever project you have going currently. So that is a way for us to be able to, when we download the Excel spreadsheet, we can actually have that comment section. I'm very, very confident that that comment section would be a separate column.
Okay.
Spreadsheet download, and then it can be sorted so that you can see exactly what is done. So I think that doesn't totally negate that, to cause extra work. I don't think.
Right.
But again, I think that, Jerry, do you have any comments about that, Jerry?
No, actually, Carrie, your transaction detail report that we send you every month, basically, like Donna's indicating, we can bring that right in and you'll see the thing that's in that donor box that she's described will come right in as the donor detail that you'll see in your transaction report.
Okay.
So when
so
you
I think
look
it's
at
fine
it, if you're looking for, like the last time you were looking for a donation and, I actually did put it in the wrong code. So we fixed it, but in this case, the code will be readily available. And then the comments section will actually give the name of the project that they're donating to. So maybe
Okay.
a little cleaner, little easier, but I understand your point around,
Yes.
the Stripe side of things, or what your donor box provides.
Right. The letters and things, right?
Got all
And I
that,
think it
but
could go in both, right? I mean, it could go in both. I don't see why it couldn't. A
Well,
church could give ACH, because we take ACH as well through our donor box.
yeah.
So they could
Yeah,
give
well-
that way, or they could give through the presbytery.
Well, if it's a church, they don't need a tax receipt, number one. And number
True.
two, if it's in your transaction report, I can send you Excel spreadsheets. And if you want to import it into donor box, you can. But
Okay.
I send you a PDF, but I could send you an Excel file in the future instead of the PDF. And then you can do whatever you want with that once you get it.
Okay.
Okay?
All right. So, I mean, I think just for now, you could just put Guatemala partnership as a choice in the drop down.
Okay.
You don't have to develop it out into like all the different categories like Donna had,
Okay.
said she could do.
Well, again, I think the comment
And we only
section
get
is,
like 3 or 4 a year, and
Right,
we usually
right.
know that they're
Right.
coming. And now, will
Well,
you accept checks from out of state, like other churches in different states? Or we can encourage them to sign up on this.
If they're,
we will-
yeah, I would encourage them to sign up. And then if they sign up, they'd be going through the same process.
Okay,
But you should also be able to give without having to create an account. That's usually an
Right.
option. So if it's a one-time thing or an occasional thing,
Correct.
that's a possibility too.
it's just that, yeah, I mean, the other thing is I know they don't need a tax receipt, but they get a special letter, like with pictures, and it's very
Right.
geared toward
Right.
the Guatemala
Right.
partnership. And then I don't have to like send a, print out a letter, send it. And and actually I've been putting checks in donor box now manually, as offline gifts. And then that way they're in the system and I can just shoot an email out as well. So well, let's just see how it goes. But I feel for now, we'll just put one line item in Guatemala partnership, and I
Right.
think I think they can give in both places.
Well,
Thank you.
let's work together, Carrie. Maybe we can
Great.
use the eliminate
Definitely.
manual effort of entering checks and get you a
Right.
file that'll allow you to just import it to donor box. Maybe we can work with your vendor on that.
Okay, great. Thank you.
That's
Mhm.
terrific. And this is an opportunity for us to be able to work with it and get some churches participating at this kind of level. So if we could earmark maybe one or two churches, Carrie, that are going to be giving, and see if maybe we can get them to try it out. We can get a chance to see it live and see how it's working for you, and then be able to work through that together.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Bet.
And then also, does Breeze use Stripe?
Yes,
So Breeze uses Stripe. So really,
Yes.
it's getting processed by the same thing. It's really just the
It is.
platform is different.
Correct.
So there's really not that much difference. It's really just the look, feel. I
Right.
also don't want to use donors, churches giving to the Presbytery versus the Guatemala Partnership website, but I think
Right.
it's just it'll based by case by case basis. Thank you.
correct. All right, that's fine.
So we are at our hour, and I try really hard to keep these 1 hour contained because,
Yes.
End of a traditional workday and beginning of a traditional evening, whatever that may look like. So if there are any last questions for Donna and Jerry, we can do that. But you also have their email addresses, and you are going to help us, kick the tires on this thing and hopefully streamline and simplify giving at the presbytery level. Any last questions to close us out?
I have hopefully a quick question. If a church has Breeze and the Newcastle has Breeze, is there
Oh.
synergy between the two?
Not that I know of. I can look into that though, Pat. Great question.
Maybe you and Donna and Jerry will be dancing a three-way tango to see if
There we
if
go.
cruises have
Well,
rhythm together.
If there's synergies, Pat, it may be that if you're on Breeze today and we can migrate your Breeze to ours, it might save you some cost.
Right.
But
That's true.
we'll have to check with Breeze.
Yeah. Yeah, I just thought it was interesting since we're both using Breeze.
Yeah, there may be some synergies in that way, depending on what you're doing and how you're using it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's give a big round of applause
wonderful.
to Donna and Jerry. Woo!
Thank you.
Cindy, quick question.
Yeah,
Those links that you're sending us to in the chat,
yes.
do they stay in the chat? How do we, once we sign out, how?
If you clicked on them, they should have opened, two of them were documents, but those are all, except for the Presbyterian Mission Giving ones, they are all on our website.
Okay.
But if you click
I
on
will
them,
be
it should
sure,
open another window.
right. And I apologize for the interruption. I will be sure to include those links, David. in the-
Thank you.
That lets you know that
Thank you very much.
they're available. Okay,
Better.
wonderful.
Ruth, say hi to your kitty for us.
I just want to thank everybody for your participation and hopefully, and again, if you have any questions, certainly don't hesitate to call us. But I'm hopeful that this will be, as Cindy said, a simplification, automation type of project that hopefully saves all of some time and maybe
Agreed.
cost.
And a little less
Agreed.
paper.
That's right.
Yeah.
Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you, Donna and Jerry, for being our presenters tonight. Yay.
Thank you.
A
It's our
good
pleasure.
night. Yeah.
Good to see you all. Thank you so much. Have a great.
Thank you. Thank
Bye
you.
now.
God bless.
holiday.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.